Morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, LinkedIn Live. How are we doing? It's Friday. It's Friday morning. How has your week been? My week has been busy, right? So, for those of you that I met yesterday at the ERG Leader Summit, thank you so much for joining us live. We are live. I'm live with Maddie this morning, who's literally just popped backstage. So, I'm going to, some people do this, they literally show up just as we're about to go live, and so I'm just going to add Maddie to the live chat now. So here we go. Good morning, Maddie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. This is the first time I'm doing this live. Sorry, did I meant to join a bit earlier?
If you want to, it's fine. but we're live. It's fine. It's all good. That's the beauty of going live, though, right? That's the
It's
beauty of
being
it,
real
the
you.
informal. Exactly. Do you know
Yeah.
what? If you'd have joined a bit live, you'd have seen me putting my makeup on,
Oh,
which I have. I have threatened to do live on LinkedIn one day. I'll do like a get ready with me video.
that's a
Um,
good one, actually. They're really fun. When you
they
put
are.
makeup on and you talk about a specific. I
Yeah,
watch those
yeah.
on TikTok myself. Yeah,
Well, maybe Maddie, maybe you and I need to bring that to LinkedIn, right?
yeah. But
We'll do
me,
that
the last
next
5 minutes
time.
before I joined, I was just like,
Yeah.
which angle do I take? Which angle is the best to take? So that's the one I chose now.
Amazing, amazing. Maddie, thank you so much for joining me. How's your week been?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Well,
Good.
a little bit of sleep deprived, so people with toddlers can probably relate.
Yeah,
My 19 months old baby not sleeping well, but we are here.
Ah,
I
I feel your pain, Maddie. My daughter didn't sleep for about the first 2 years as well. Didn't really sleep very well. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
When I think about it, oh my god, the last time I properly slept through the night was about
yeah,
2 years ago. That's
yeah.
crazy when you think about it, right? But that's
It
crazy when
is.
how sometimes when you're like, okay, I'm just like so tired, but you still can go. You can still keep going.
Yeah,
You still find
yeah.
this energy because you have no choice, right? So
Absolutely, absolutely. And then afterwards, when you start sleeping again through the night, because baby starts sleeping, you think, how did I survive on like no
yeah,
sleep?
yes,
Yeah,
exactly. So a
yeah.
little bit puffy, but I'm sure everyone can understand that.
Amazing, amazing. Maddie, thank you so much for joining me. For those of you that don't know Madlena, I'd encourage you to
Oh,
connect with her on LinkedIn and sort of just check out what she does. And I know we first met when you were at Perkbox
yeah,
some
yeah,
years ago,
yeah.
working with I guess almost like the then founder and kind of helping to build community and engagement, etc. So just tell people a little bit about your background and kind of I guess how you got into what you do in terms of employee engagement and customer success as well.
Of course. So basically, I've been working with the same founder for a long time now. So Saurav Chopra, he's a founder of Powerbox, first of all. So I joined
Yeah.
when we were, I think, 10 employees.
Wow.
So I really enjoy startup life because when Saurav
Right.
started his second company,
Yeah.
uh, 5 minutes. So this is where I work now currently.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I still follow him, still
Yeah.
his journey. But the reason, so basically, what I'm trying to do here is with 5 minutes is that
Yeah.
I work for customer success team, and
Hmm.
I lead the team. So what we do, we build programs, learning programs for them using micro learning, depending
Yeah.
on their objectives and their needs. So obviously,
Yeah.
micro learning, and this is probably the topic for today as well.
Yeah.
Learning is becoming super popular,
Hmm.
and people understand that this is actually one of the very interesting new ways of learning,
Yeah.
and we basically help our clients to facilitate that by identify skill gaps for their
Yeah.
teams, for the organizations, and then creating programs for them as well.
Yeah. Amazing. And it's really interesting. I mean, first of all, that you love kind of almost like the startup,
Yeah.
and what comes with that in terms of whether that be the chaos, the energy, the excitement, all of that sort of thing. Yeah. and
Yes.
then what's really interesting, obviously, Perkbox and then 5 minutes, they're both startups that are really focused on like employees. What is it that employees need, and how do organizations better support them, reward them, develop them, etc.
Yeah.
So is that just something that you're passionate about as well? Does that kind of work for you from that
Yeah.
perspective?
So obviously with Pairbox, the problem that we were trying to solve was the employee engagement. So we were trying to solve that with benefits and perks. And then while we were building Pairbox, we kind of really quickly realized that there is another problem that can be solved with learning and development. And one of the things that we have learned working with our employees, with teams and with customers, that people just have no time to learn. And that was like a not a tick box, like a light bulb moment. Yeah, when you're like, okay, so people do want to learn. And whenever we used to send all the engagement surveys, always like, we want to learn. And we realized that there is a hunger to learn, but the world is changing so fast, like what we knew 5 years ago, it's not applicable, or we just need to adapt. And because we're so busy with our roles, we have so many things on our plates already. At the same time, while doing our roles and jobs, we need to learn new skills, because the world is going really, really fast. Now, even if you look back, for example, before COVID, right? People used to go to the office. Now they're working from home, and then the communication styles need to adapt, right? So, how do you communicate with your teams? What tone are you going to use, and stuff like that? Now, as well, different generations occupy leadership roles. So the world is not waiting for you. The world is evolving, and you need to evolve at the same time. And where do you find the time where you have so many things on your plate? You have babies, you have, your personal lives. So obviously that's where we kind of like connected, like, okay, let's obviously that came from my founder, is like micro learning can really actually solve this problem for them.
Yeah, I love that. And as you were talking, actually, and you were talking about the changing times and COVID and remote working and all of that, and it just reminded me, and generationally as well, reminded me of, when we think about social media and how TikTok has changed, and algorithms and attention spans and all of that stuff. And that's not to say that there isn't a time and place for deep learning, because we know that Gen Z also love really long podcasts, right? We know that Gen Z does both. But it's interesting how a lot of these things have driven this new demand for micro learning, right?
100%. Those social media platforms, they are growing, like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and they are creating what technology does to us. They're creating, they're training our brain, so we can probably we can concentrate a bit quicker. That's why our attention span gets short and short and short. Actually, I checked yesterday, our attention span is shorter than a goldfish. So goldfish has 9 seconds. Our attention span is 8 seconds, which is crazy. So that technology is creating these different habits for us, right? So algorithm. So you're like, okay, the content needs to be, like with algorithm, the more you watch something, the better recommendations get. So obviously, people get spoiled with that. Can I say spoiled? Because obviously, why do you do a training for me that's not for me? I want to have extremely personalized training or engagement gamifications now as well. You get.
Yeah. Do you know what's really interesting as well? So I've just come back from a little bit of a break, and I'm really into books and audio books. And I tend to listen to audiobooks, especially non-fiction, on like at least double speed. And like my daughters always say to me, why are you listening on double speed? Just slow it down. But there is something about, we like to try to consume
as much
information
as
sometimes
possible.
and as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
So what is micro learning for anybody that's watching? And
yeah,
good morning if you're watching live, by the way. If you're watching on the replay, thank you for checking this out. So just for anybody that's never heard of micro learning, what is micro learning?
of course. Yeah. So micro learning, or people might call it bite-sized learning, it's
Okay.
an educational strategy that basically breaks content down into focused units, right? So instead of having a long introduction, then main body, ending, usually it's really focused into one specific topic, or usually or
Mhm.
one specific objective. So it's very short, and the main characteristics is between 5 to 10 minutes, or 3 to 10 minutes. On 5 minutes
Mhm.
platform is actually the longest video we have, is probably 3.5 minutes. And it can be any format. So it can be, video, it can be audible, it can be, written content as well. So
Yeah.
so the main really characteristic is that it's very, very short, and it's
Yeah.
very focused for a particular topic or objective.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Short and focus. And you said that obviously your platform is called 5 minutes. So on
Yeah.
your platform, people know that
Yeah.
whatever they're getting is going to be less than five
Yeah.
minutes, right?
Yeah.
Which is, it's great, isn't it? Because it just sets that expectation of, even if you've only got, you know, 5 minutes now, like between maybe, a couple of meetings or at lunchtime or something, you
Yeah.
know that it's not going to be any longer than 5 minutes.
So we
Yeah.
encourage people to, so basically the whole idea, you can spend 5 minutes a day to learn something new while you're making a
Right.
coffee, while you're traveling, while you are, I don't know, dressing or putting makeup on.
Yeah.
You have no excuse.
Yeah.
Everyone can find 5 minutes, right? Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what it reminds me of as well, actually? One of my favorite books. I mean, people know I'm a massive book nerd.
Yes.
Atomic
Easy.
Habits.
Oh,
It
yes.
kind of, yeah, it kind of like links into that sort of mindset of just
Yeah.
doing a small thing every day, like can make a massive difference. Because if
Yes.
somebody said, I'm going to go onto this platform and I'm going to learn about, for example, inclusion, or, how to be a better line manager or whatever it be, in
Yeah.
just 5 minutes a day, that could make a massive difference,
Yeah.
right? Just
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
developing that habit to do it
Yeah.
every day. Yeah.
And it's about repetition as well, right?
Yeah.
Exactly as you said, developing the habit. And
Yeah.
there is this, I just see this graphic in my head, but there is like
Mm.
a difference between motivation and repetition. With motivation, if you
Right.
go somewhere, it goes like this, right? So I'm
Yeah.
motivated, I will learn. I'm not motivated anymore. I'm motivated, I'm not motivated.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And consistent, like building the habit, you just go straight, because
Yeah.
there's if you're motivated or not motivated, you have to do it,
Yeah.
because you will get at the top at the end. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. It's amazing. So we've talked about like some of the trends and why it's becoming
Yeah.
so much popular now.
Yeah.
So who does it tend to appeal to in
Yeah.
your experience, and all of the customers and clients that you've got that are using
Yeah.
micro learning? Who is it perfect for?
So one of the most benefits of obviously micro learning is
Hmm.
time, right? So, and whenever I speak to like customers and clients, they understand, for example, that their management or leadership teams, they have no time, so it's really hard to get their attention. So, and we do provide leadership and management training, and the reason
Yeah.
why they go for the bite sized is because they can fit the leaders and managers who are super busy, they can fit my
Right.
learning training into their busy schedules. So first of all, it's for people who are super, super busy.
Yeah.
And then, moms, like I unfortunately, I don't have time to read books anymore.
Yeah.
But again, as I said earlier, the world is evolving. The world is not waiting for me. So I kind of
Yeah.
need to keep up with all the trends, with everything that's happening. So I don't want to stop my learning experience. So I kind of, that really resonates with me as a mom, as a very
Yeah.
busy person who has a lot of things to do. It really resonates with millennials and Gen Z, because obviously those generations, they are already, they grew up with tech, right? So
Yeah.
they kind of have that kind of expectation that, it needs to be bite-sized, it needs to be personalized, it needs
Yeah.
to be gamified either, so it needs to be
Yeah.
fun. So it
Yeah.
also resonates with, sorry. I thought you have.
No, no. Well, it kind of something you said about the younger generation. So about a year ago, it was a real kind of like a light bulb kind of moment when so we were on holiday, and my husband's niece was there. She was 18 at the time,
Yeah.
and she was talking about we were talking about like googling something, and she was like, we don't really google anything anymore, we
Yeah.
TikTok it, as
Yeah.
in we go on to
Yes.
TikTok. And I was
Yes.
like, what? Like, this is now a thing? Like, if
Yes.
you want to know, if you want to find out how to do
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
like this generation they don't even google it, they're going on to
Yeah.
TikTok to find
Yeah.
out how to do it. And I was like, this is really interesting.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, 100%. And that's why it resonates with people who are, because you're learning on the job as well, right? So
Yeah.
if you're, for example, in sales, or if you are in, client facing customer success role,
Mhm.
or any role, to be honest, but if you learn on the job, and you need to quickly remind yourself. So, for example, tomorrow I have a presentation. My boss is going to be
Yeah.
there. I want to really refresh my presentation skills.
Yeah.
I'll just gonna quickly look and learn and refresh that. And with bite-sized learning, obviously it doesn't take a lot of time, and you don't
Yeah.
need to. Sometimes on YouTube, if you go on like a long form content, you like try to find where is it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bite-sized learning is just like there for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's for
Yeah.
people busy, people who are really want to solve their problems at that specific time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Amazing, amazing. And then let's go into, obviously, part of the title of this, we're talking about why AI mastery is the hottest micro learning trend. And we had a funny conversation when we were prepping for this. I was saying to you that that I said to a member of my team, unless that has been okayed and reviewed by ChatGPT, I don't want to see it.
yeah, that's good. That's
Like,
good.
yeah. So tell us about, which of the courses that are most
Yeah.
popular,
Yeah.
whether it be AI specific or broad, and then we'll dig a little bit into the whole AI thing and what people are going on to learn.
Yeah, of course. So obviously one of the most popular courses that customers and people want to learn is about AI, obviously.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because obviously there's a rapid AI adoption. So companies, they introduce AI already into their, specific policies, specific things. So obviously people want to learn how to use AI. What is AI? And the reason why it's important is not only because what do you do with AI, but plus what do you not do with AI, right? So there's certain things, like you don't unless you turn off. So AI. The reason it's free for a lot of AI tools are free is because it's training on you. The more you use it, the more better it gets. So there is this comparison between ChatGPT 3.5 and ChatGPT 4.0. The difference
Okay.
between those two models is just 6 months. 4.0 is just so much more advanced. The reason why is because a lot of people started using AI, and while they're using it, while they're creating those prompts, it gets better. It trains AI, right? If you are using for, let's say, data sensitive information or any sensitive company information, you don't use AI unless you turn off the training module. So you can turn that off, and then AI is not going to use that information or specific to learn and get better. So if you turn that off, that's fine. But obviously, some companies they have very specific needs as well. Some companies might say they have specific objectives as well. So they might have very specific, things that they want to do or not want to do. So some companies say, I don't want anyone to use ChatGPT. I want everyone to use this. So obviously it's very company specific, but it's very important to understand what to do and what not to do. And in terms of what to do as well, what's very important is that some people, they might, I tried, didn't really, it was really robotic, and what's very important to understand here is that it's about you, not the AI. So whenever you ask a question, your prompt is actually the most important. How do you prompt? So you can say, sound like Michelle Obama or sound like Elon Musk, and it will sound like, I actually was trying that, sound like Michelle Obama. change the tone of voice. So
Wow.
how do you write your prompt? That's the answer you get. So sometimes when it's like, it's a bit too robotic, it means that your prompt is not good enough,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
writing those prompts, it's very, very, very important. So even my colleague, but she's she's very good at all of these AI tools because she's using them for content,
Yeah.
and she's very specific. So she's what I think I told you that before, but when she talks to ChatGPT, it's so funny to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
When she talks to ChatGPT, she says, because ChatGPT is very creative and every tool is very different as well. So ChatGPT, imagine ChatGPT is like your friendly, creative friend. So ChatGPT is, because it's very friendly, sometimes it can hallucinate. So she specifically in her prompt says, do not hallucinate your answers. So so it's very important to learn and know what to do.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Wow. I'm taking all of this away for the next time I use ChatGPT all of the time. And you're so right in terms of the shift between that 3.5 and 4.0. I mean, I have really started talking to ChatGPT like it's a friend.
Yes, but that's cool. It's
Yeah.
amazing because, for example, so you can actually talk as an audio as well, right? And what's very interesting is that you can role play. So, for example, if you are a manager and you will have you're preparing for a difficult conversation with your team member, or the other way, you can role play, and then whenever you say to ChatGPT, you can say challenge that. So ChatGPT is going to challenge that, and then it will prepare you for a difficult conversation, because no matter what you will say to ChatGPT and say, challenge my answer, it will challenge you, so it will make you think even further.
Do you know what? And I know that there are a couple of people on LinkedIn that I can think of that have developed almost like AI sort of coaching, business coaching models that talk about all of this stuff. I haven't really thought about that. I've gotten as far as, with my prompts and things. So I've been, we ran this big summit yesterday for ERG leaders. And so we use ChatGPT for things like helping to like summarize information from a speaker and their bio is too long, a simple, just shorten this bio for us, etc. And then and then I said to ChatGPT, thank you for doing that. And then ChatGPT will say, oh, that's fine, good luck with the event.
That's amazing. So my best friend, actually, not ChatGPT but Claude. So so funny, our best friends. That's crazy. But please don't judge me. But what's very interesting, Cheryl, is that I would suggest you to, I'm not sure, maybe you have already done it, but play with different tools, and then you will understand that some of them are just so different, So as I said, ChatGPT is your creative friend. Claude is Claude is a very it's more formal, not formal, but maybe more structured as well. I absolutely love Claude. Claude is my favorite. But every tool has a little bit different type of
That's interesting. So ChatGPT, Claude. The other one I've been told to try is Perplexity.
Yes, Perplexity is amazing. There is the difference between Perplexity and other ones is that other ones cannot search for give you links. For example, like if you say if I'm preparing for let's say I was preparing for this, and I will say give me top HBR, Harvard Business Review articles on microlearning. So ChatGPT will say, unfortunately, I cannot give you the links, but Perplexity. Perplexity will send you the summaries and then the link for each.
Interesting. That's absolutely interesting. And one of the things that I love what you said as well is almost like teaching you how to use AI in terms of when should you be using, when should you not using, because I'd imagine a lot of organizations have probably got concerns, so some of the things you talked about there in terms of whether it be sensitivity in terms of commercial sensitivity and or what data are you feeding it. And I do wonder whether even like whether some of the IT teams have kept, up to speed with what it is that AI is doing, and
Yeah.
how they should be used, and the frameworks, etc., that they need to
Yeah.
be put around in organizations. So
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely fast. And for smaller companies that maybe haven't even got a large IT team,
Yeah.
obviously for them figuring out how to use AI is quite important, right? Because they haven't got a whole team to kind of come in and put
Yeah.
the framework and the the firewalls and all of that sort of thing in for them.
Yeah, yeah. But what companies really need to probably, if companies don't use it, I really, they really need to understand that it really helps the productivity for employees, no matter what they do. As you said, Cheryl, yourself,
Yeah,
summarize some content. I use myself for emails, for follow-up emails, so
yeah.
client-facing. I actually have this AI chatbot who's always following me anytime I have a meeting.
Ah,
It records, and then later on it gives me the summary of what has been discussed, the key takeaways, next step. So if you have client facing meeting after meeting, you don't
yeah,
save so much of your time to think, okay, so what
yeah,
did we discuss? What's the next step? Let me just draft that email. So it's literally
yeah,
like, for me, it's like a 30 minutes per email, because you need to think what we have discussed, the key
yeah,
take, the next steps. So it really saves at least 30 minutes per meeting to send
yes,
a follow-up email, right? So it
yeah,
saves a lot of your employees time, where they can actually spend elsewhere to think
yeah,
about how to get more customers, or how to get more leads, or how to,
yeah,
build the new features. And
yeah.
yeah.
I love that. I love that. It's almost like I guess it's almost creating, well, it is like it's almost like an automated assistant, isn't it?
Yes.
That's kind of what it is. It's yeah.
Yes. So what we always say to people whenever we talk about AI, don't think as this is as a tool to replace you. This is
Mm,
the tool to assist you, and it's very
yeah.
important, the difference between
Yeah.
replacing you and assisting you. It's here to assist you. It's
Yeah.
like a personal assistant, free.
Yes.
Yeah.
Free and really fast.
Yeah, it's really, and really fun as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect. So have you got any last sort of like tips either for an individual that might be watching this or their organization around kind of micro learning and 5 minutes and what you do? And obviously, one of the customer groups that I do a lot of work with is employee network leaders, who often are incredibly busy people. So yeah, just any final tips that you've got for them in terms of maybe just what they should be trying out, or what they should be thinking about in terms of use cases, etc.
Yeah, so first of all, in terms of AI, if you haven't tried AI, please play around. It's not scary. It's very easy to use as well, and it's all about it's all about your prompting. So if you sometimes feel that, oh, it doesn't give me the right answer, just
Hmm.
think about what exactly you ask and be as much specific as possible. So say exactly what. Sometimes I was like, even say, put this into a table, and it puts me into a table, like an Excel table, right? So be as specific as possible if you want to
Hmm.
get the best results out of AI. In terms of micro learning, so obviously micro learning, it's the one of the biggest benefits of micro learning is time. So if you don't have the time
Yeah.
to finish your course or join I don't know, specific, like any webinar, try micro learning, because you can definitely fit at least a few minutes a day to learn something new,
Yeah.
because obviously the world is changing, the world is evolving, and we kind of have to keep up. So try that. And if you sometimes feel that, oh, actually with micro learning, I have you ever heard of the learning forgetting curve of learning, Cheryl? No?
No, I haven't heard of that. No.
I'm gonna take you back to the 19th century. Where there is German philosopher. He invented this forgetting curve of learning. And basically, what's very scary actually is that
Yeah.
we forget about 80% of what we have learned in the first month, right?
Wow.
So it's a lot. But to solve that, to help you with that, it's spaced repetition. So if you want to learn something and put it into your long term memory, because you've got two memories, short
Right.
term and long term, you use spaced repetition. So you come back to the same information, come back to the same information, come back to the same.
Ah,
And that's how you strengthen your neurons. And that's
yeah.
how you transform the information from short term to long term by coming back to the same information. So if you really want to learn something and for life, let's say,
Yeah.
don't think that, oh my god, like I really watched this and I just, I don't remember afterwards, I didn't apply afterwards. That's normal, because that's how human brain works. You forget 80% within the first month. But
Yeah.
how you can go around this is by doing the spaced repetition.
Yeah. I love that. And do you know what as well? One of the things that is sometimes said around, say, for example, the work of like inclusion,
Yeah,
you sometimes hear people say things like, oh, one-off workshops don't work. And
yeah,
linking to what you were just saying there, I don't think it's a case of that. Well, it's not that the one-off per se, it's just there needs to be some follow-up, some
yeah,
repetition, right? To
yeah,
actually cement the learning into
yeah,
kind of that long term. I think that's what the thing is.
and
So I don't think the thing is to not do the workshop, it's to
yeah,
then have
yes,
follow-up and
yes,
repetition.
exactly.
Yeah.
And actually to add some sorry, can I just add something
Yeah,
else?
yeah, yeah.
So what we teach our clients, it's called a flipped classroom approach. So what it
Okay.
means that if you do a workshop, if you do a
Mm.
classroom, which is, we are not saying that workshops are not great. Workshops
Mm.
are really great. Micro learning can complement that. And you can do
Yes.
that with a flipped classroom approach. So basically, you share some information
Mhm.
before an actual training. And with us, it's a bite-sized content. So
Mhm.
let's say you do a training on DNI, right? So you
Mhm.
share some information, the basic, that like the theory before the
Mm.
training. So when they come to the training, you practice it, right? So you apply what you have learned
Right.
just before, and then to close the loop, you do the follow-up, like top takeaways as well. So that's how we
Right.
teach our clients that actually the most efficient way of learning is not
Yeah.
only bite-sized or not only
Yeah.
classroom, but combining these two. So share
Yeah.
something before, do the training, and do the follow-up
Yeah.
afterward, to kind of close that loop, and always come back. So don't be scared to uh, do the same training in 6 months or do the
Yeah.
same training in 3 months, because people, unfortunately, busy lives,
Yeah.
life happens, they forget. So having exactly the same training will enforce them to actually, to put this from short-term memory to long-term memory. The more you
Yeah.
do it, the better they will they retain their knowledge, basically.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Absolutely amazing. Fantastic. If anybody, if you're not connected to Madlena Pozlevic, that's correct, isn't
Very
it? In terms
good.
of surname.
Yes,
Okay, cool.
yes,
I've
Madlena.
been practicing. But please do, if you want to find out more about what Madlena does at 5mins, 5mins.ai, 5 minutes. Please connect with Maddie. Head over to the website. I think you've got some demos and stuff like that on the website that
Yeah,
people can see
we
and
we
things like that. Yeah.
yeah. So if you guys are interested, just connect with me, and then I will arrange some, calls
Yeah.
if there is an interest.
Amazing. This
Yeah.
has been fascinating. I thought I knew more than I did about micro learning, clearly. So this has been a learn for me. And I've
Oh
learned
my God.
I've learned another AI tool as well. I've learned about Claude. So I knew
Yes.
ChatGPT and I
Yeah.
knew Perplexity, and I've now learned about Claude as
Yeah.
well. So I'm going to be checking those out.
Carol, just one more
Go
thing.
ahead.
Sorry, just
Sure.
before the meeting, I actually used ChatGPT for one thing. So in your description, you mentioned that we met when you did a webinar for 1,000 people, right?
Yes.
And I was like, when we did a webinar for 1,000 people, I don't really you don't really think about it when you actually do it. But
Uh-huh.
then
Uh-huh.
so many years ago, I'm like, we did a webinar for 1,000 people. And I was like,
Yeah.
ChatGPT, how many London buses can fit 1,000 people? So ChatGPT told me it's 12.5 buses. So imagine, Carol,
Wow.
doing a webinar in a front of 12 full double London buses.
Wow.
It's crazy. I was
That's amazing.
like, that.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that fun
Yeah.
fact. Yeah, that was the first sort of thing that we did together, which was amazing. Yeah, I feel like we need to do another webinar. That was so much
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
Amazing. Maddie, thank you so much for your time. This has been fantastic. And yeah, anybody that's been checking this out, please check out Maddie. And yeah, thank you all so much for listening. Again, if you're listening live or if you're listening on the replay, and also on YouTube, because I can spot that some people are listening on YouTube as well. Again, thank you for joining. All right, Maddie, I will see you soon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for having me.